Hi, Claren. Nice to virtually meet you.
Yes, you as well. So nice to be here.
Great. So I usually start these conversations with a bit of an intro. So those of us who may be familiar with some of your work, but others might not be, kind of have an idea of where you started and how you got into theater and what is sort of your approach to theater.
Okay. Um, so I work in theater actually mostly as a director and a producer. I was trained as an actor at TMU, and but since graduating that, I immediately switched into directing. I thought that as an actor, you're at the whims of other people, including like when you get to work, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't want to wait around for people to offer me things. I wanted to go out and make my own work. So I switched to directing and immediately found that I loved directing. Um,
Nice.
so that's what I mostly do. And then
Mhm.
over the course of the pandemic, I started writing this play. And so on this project, I am definitely applying my director brain, but I'm collaborating with the director Will Dow. Um, so this is my first time like really stepping into being a playwright. I also co-wrote Shadow Girls with Kesha Palm,
Mhm.
which was another overhead projector play. So this is my second overhead projector play. Other things I've directed is I directed Chicho by Augusto Bitter. Um, Generally speaking, in my art, I think that theater should feel experiential. I'm really big on tech, integrated tech. I think that's a key part of what makes theater different from film and
Mhm.
capitalizes on the live eventness of it. Like I call it like theater magic. Like when you're in your seat and something happens that makes you go like, "Oh my gosh, how do they do that?"
Right.
That's theater magic that they don't do on film, and I'm big on that kind of stuff.
Nice. That's where I know you're from, Shadow Girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I love her projection myself, probably nostalgic, but um, can you talk a little bit about using that as a tool for theater and,
Mm.
storytelling?
I think they're just the absolute neatest little machines. So I got introduced to them because Kesha Palm had one and
Hmm.
was like, "Hey, like, Karen, I've got this cool thing that I thought maybe might be neat. Like, do you want to come over and we can like see what we can do with this?" And I was like, "Sure." And we ended up building a whole play around these machines. And I just think it's so easy. Like again, I can do it in my kitchen. If you've got a blank wall, you plug it into the wall, and now you've got tons of technical things that you can accomplish. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know how to work a digital projector, and I think that's a lot more complicated. Not that the overhead projections are simple by any means. If you come and see
Hmm.
the show, you will see like the projectionists are doing quite a bit of like choreography,
Right.
but it's accessible. Like, anyone can do it with a simple machine.
Hmm.
Um, and the variety of things that you can accomplish in the visuals is really interesting, like playing with depth, playing with texture. Like we use a lot of like wet materials, like pouring water over the
Oh,
projectors, and what does that look like, and
right.
movement. And as an audience member, there's two experiences happening. Like you're watching the projections, which we have built to look beautiful, but you get to watch the projectionists create it. So that is like a whole other story unto itself. Like projectionists are also performers.
Hmm.
It's neat. I think it's just such an incredible medium and so accessible. Like you can build a whole show honestly with just yourself if you wanted to.
Right.
Um, but you'll see with many hands comes some pretty fantastic stuff.
Cool. I know. It's so fun. I just like watching people do cool things. So the name of your show is I Love the Smell of Gasoline. So let's talk about that title.
Yeah.
Or what came first, maybe? Did you have the idea for the play and then the title came after?
The title came first.
Okay.
Absolutely, the title came first. And I also was like, wow, what a great title. I have to write a play to match that title. Um, and so, yeah, the whole play was built after the title came. So the title for me does really evoke a lot of the things that the play is unpacking.
Hmm.
I love the smell of gasoline. there's like a sinister edge to that. Like obviously smelling gasoline is actually something that can be quite addictive and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also something for me that's really innocent and naive about it. Like I liked the smell of gasoline as a kid when you're just
Right.
like, I like the gas station. Like, why does it smell good? Um, and so it is about like loving this thing in a really like innocent way that is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean to just like own up and accept the fact that like, oh, I actually love these things that fossil fuels give me. Like a lot of the play is about grieving what we have to let go if we're going to move into a fossil fuel free future. That's
Right.
one element. There's a lot of
Mhm.
different moving components, but in the title of the play, like framing it from a place of I actually do love all of these things that fossil fuel has given me. I love those
Right.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so given that I love those things, now how do I act since the world is ending
Right.
because of those?
So you're trying to raise some questions for us too as audience members, right? Because we can relate to, yes, it's also like childhood memories and smell, right? Like they're so interconnected. And, like you said, the tools and the goods that fossil fuels have given us.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
so I didn't read too much about the show because I knew I was going to talk to you, so I'd rather ask you. Is this sort of the first iteration of the play? Is it going to be shorter, longer? What is your plan?
So this is the workshop. Give me one second.
Yes.
Um, this is the first full scale of the production, like the full, it's going to be about an hour and 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We workshopped in the past. We did a 10-minute presentation for the Caminos Festival last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we actually, in the future, we have a 2-week run coming up with Nightwood Theater at the Aki Studio,
Right.
and with the support of Aluna Theater.
Mm-hmm.
So this presentation, the way working of it is a workshop. It's the whole play, but it is still, we've got room between
Oh,
this presentation and then the March one, right? So
right,
it
right.
will definitely
Sorry, you're.
act. It will definitely, so it's going to be a full production in March. The nice thing about this presentation is we have a chance to workshop some things. So if you're coming to see it, it will definitely be a polished product,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Having said that, we're going to just make some discoveries. We might find some new things and apply those as lessons before we go into the March run,
Mm-hmm.
including just scaling up. The RUTAS Festival, we're in the factory backspace and it's quite intimate. We have like a
Mm-hmm.
35 or so seat theater in thrust. It's going to be really intimate. And then the Aki studio is quite big. So it's going to be different that way
Right.
too.
Nice. So I think that's kind of a cool thing to talk about too, because I know that sometimes audiences don't realize there's a process in kind of creating these long versions of a play. So this is not really a 10-minute version. This is almost like a full realized version. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you take into account what you learn from here and bring it into your March? Do you take notes? Do you have, you know, time for feedback from the audiences? Do you have any plans in terms of, what's helpful to you?
Hmm. Um, I think that we will naturally get feedback from audiences. You talk to people after the show, things like
Yeah.
that. There's no formal arrangement right now,
Mm-hmm.
but stay tuned. Perhaps we will set up a kind of talk back situation for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we also invite like our mentors and our family and the people that are in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, I think, will be there, and they are from Alberta, so they will, I'm sure, have lots of opinions. So there will be some like gathering feedback and applying it that way. There's
Mm-hmm.
also a lot of like, we're taking notes the whole time we're in rehearsals, right? We're the whole time we're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, the truth is this, but what can we accomplish in this time? Like, what
Right.
could we accomplish if we had another week of rehearsal? So things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have archival video that the director and I will probably pour over and be like, okay, so how did that go? What did we think?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kind of things. But I imagine like by the time we open the RUTAS Festival, we will already know what we want to do differently. for the
Okay,
March.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. So, so you worked with Aluna Theater before. You know what RUTAS Festival is. You know, it's international, so it's nice to be have a mix of local and international artists. Is there? I was gonna say I want to ask you if there was something that you wanted to see at RUTAS that hopefully you'll have time to, but I'm not sure if you get time to catch other shows at the festival.
I certainly hope so, especially because they're in the evening and we rehearse during the day. Then I
Mhm.
should be able to catch quite a bit of stuff. And honestly, I want to catch as much as I can of it all. I know that
Right.
Aluna is really good at picking good art and good artists. So
Hmm.
there's no specific piece that I've been following, and I'm like, that one specific. But
Yeah,
just
I
in
think the
general,
lineup looks really good. I'll always make sure that I link back to the theater's website so people know what's showing. But for I like the smell of gasoline. When is it actually showing at the festival? And is it going to have specific days for a run? How do we know when it's playing?
yeah, it's the October 6th, 7th, and 8th evening performances at the Factory Studio.
Great. And if people want to find your work, Claren, where do we find you on social media?
The best way to find me on the internet is going to pencilkitproductions.com, which is my company. And most of the stuff that I do is through that company.
Hmm.
Um, on social media, I'm really like, I keep all my profiles secret. And I'm like, I
Oh,
don't want
that's
to ever
okay.
get
I respect that actually. It's more about, you know, your theater work. So Pencil Kit Productions, I
Productions is
think,
definitely, and on Instagram, etc. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing is there.
yeah,
And I have
excellent.
an art account, visual art account.
Oh, nice. That's
Um,
also in the
if
Pencil
people
Kit
want to, that's not. So if you want to follow me as a visual artist, that's Art by Claren
art
on
by Claren.
Instagram.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. We're looking
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you, and hopefully I'll get to meet you in person during the
Yeah,
festival.
that'd be great. I think it'll be fun for you if you've seen Shadow Girls to see how the
Things have
projectors have.
evolved. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you so much, Heidi.
Take care.
You too.